Alright, here's a question for you. Can your religious identity predict your political affiliation? According to a recent study, sometimes yes, and sometimes no, not really. In June 2017, the New York Times published the findings of two scholars who analyzed the political affiliation of American religious leaders. The study was conducted by Eitan Hirsch, a professor of political science at Tufts University, and was helped out by Gabriel Molina, a doctoral candidate in government at Harvard University. They compiled a massive database of 130,000 American religious leaders, mostly from Christian and Jewish denominations. They analyzed their voter registration and compared their partisanship with that of their congregations. What they found is that sometimes religious affiliation is definitely a key predictor of your politics. So, for example, if you're a Unitarian pastor, you are probably a Democrat. Over 70% were registered Democrat. The same goes for rabbis of conservative Judaism and Reform Judaism. Respectively, 70 and 80% of their rabbis register as Democrats. As for Republicans, if you're a pastor with the Assemblies of God denomination or the Presbyterian Church of America, you are probably Republican. However, some groups are not as easy to predict. Catholic clergy, for example, are pretty evenly split between Republican and Democrat. Orthodox rabbis are also somewhat split, though they skew slightly Democratic. Now, this is a lot of data, and I don't know if I can synthesize it all in one video, but here are a few key takeaways. Even though religious denomination is a good predictor for the political affiliation of religious leaders, it's not as useful for predicting the politics of the congregants. In other words, religious leaders are more partisan than their congregations. For example, 76% of Episcopalian pastors identify as Democrats, but only 55% of Episcopalian congregants identify as Democrats. So this data might be helpful for exploring why religious leaders and congregations are not always on the same page politically. Another key takeaway is that demographic and geographic factors are at work here as well. So, for example, Catholics in a conservative area tend to be more Republican, and Catholics in liberal areas tend to be more Democratic. Now, this might seem like a no-brainer to you, but for me this proves something that I frequently say on this channel, that religions are embedded in culture. People's religious identities are mixed in with their other identities, whether geographic, demographic, or political identities. Religious identity both shapes and is shaped by these other factors. But I'd be curious to hear your thoughts. Are you completely unsurprised that pastors are more partisan than their congregations? What do you make of the denominations that are more evenly split? Put your comments below and I'll try my best to respond to them. But in the meantime, go check out the article itself. I put a link to it in the description below. It's super interesting and I'd be curious to hear your thoughts. And as always, thanks for watching.